Hello everyone and welcome to today's superb episode in which we will discuss games that have been ranked as the worst racing games in the year 2022. Keep watching to the end of the show. While there are several great racing games that have endured the test of time, some have not. In fact, these must be the worst. The racing genre has always piqued the interest of both die-hard gamers and casual players. Fighting games, shooters, and RPGs, for example, are always changing and evolving, and racing games have had to adapt with mixed results. A gaming studio will occasionally take a gamble that may or may not pay off. Nonetheless, the corporation has done something new that may have an impact on future products. Despite the long-term advantage of a miscalculation, some truly poor racing games haven't lived up to the franchise's brand or even matched its market competitors. 10. PacMan World Rally. Pac-Man has appeared in more video games than most people can remember. Since his first appearance in 1980, he has appeared in a variety of genres. He has also appeared in Street Fighter X Tekken and Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U systems. PacMan Rally was published in 2006 for the PlayStation 2, and most other reviewers would agree that it lacks personality. What it tries to do to differentiate itself ultimately fails. Many people argue that this game is nothing more than a Mario Kart clone, claiming that the weapons seem different but are exact replicas of those seen in the Super Mario racing genre. If you collect enough fruit, you can gain invincibility. However, this makes the game feel more like a standard game than a fun racing game that stands apart. 9. Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders is another of those games that isn't sure what it wants to be. The game, which was released in 2006 for the Xbox, PlayStation 2 and GameCube, features the blue hedgehog riding on hoverboards of some kind. It has a similar design to the SSX series, but many of the stages, power-ups, and other in-game features make it feel more like a classic kart racer. Aside from not knowing what it wants to be, the controls are extremely erratic, with the player frequently zooming across the circuit without understanding how to control speed. In other racing games, you simply click a single button and you're off. In the case of this game, it appears that simply moving forward is a chore. And let's just say it didn't get much better when it was ported to the Xbox 360 Kinect. 8. Nicktoons Racing. Nothing beats seeing a new video game featuring all of your favorite cartoon characters when you're a kid in the late 1990s, especially if they have to race against one another. Nicktoons Racing was published in 1999 at the height of Nickelodeon's cartoon success, and while nostalgia kept this game alive in the hearts of some, in retrospect, this game is just awful. The images look to have been created in a single afternoon. If you are fortunate enough to obtain one of the 3 power-ups that appear on each track, you will discover that none of the things in the game are particularly distinctive. Almost every item is identical. Oh, and get accustomed to hearing your character's catchphrase repeatedly. And again, and again, and again. 7. Powerdrome. Powerdrome is a remastered version of a 1988 PC title that was released in 2004 for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox platforms. A futuristic racing game in the vein of F-Zero, the remake saw the removal of much of the customization in exchange for further graphics improvements and gameplay refinement. While the gameplay has been improved, it is still rather dull. Although the aesthetics have been upgraded with a new coat of paint, the gameplay is nothing to write home about. Powerdrome's gameplay is way too simple. The lack of novelty in the game's style was what players had to complain about. While the sights are certainly attractive to the eye, they won't hold your interest for long. Above all, the game's difficulty stems not from any challenge, but rather from how the AI will receive more boosts than the player, creating a really unfair experience. 6. Inspector Gadget Racing. None of the franchises to which a kart racer may be attached is more out of left field than the cartoon Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget Racing was published for the Game Boy Advance in 2003. While I typically give every game a chance at first, I cannot advocate getting past the loading screen of this title. For Begin, the game is slow, which is obviously undesirable in a racing game. Because gas is limited, the player must pick up gas orbs along the road, limiting their experience. The automobiles handle as though they were always sliding on ice, giving the user no control. This game proves that you can't just add the word racing to the end of a game's title and expect it to immediately become good. 5. Digimon Racing. Digimon tried hard to distinguish itself within the pocket monster genre during the days of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! As a result, Digimon Racing was published for the Game Boy Advance in 2004. Nobody could have predicted that Agumon would be pulling drifts over the track. While it was intended to widen the Digimon brand, like many other kart racing games do, it was not the necessary boost for the franchise. The game allows you to race with a variety of Digimon. The ability to digivolve throughout the race is a key aspect of this title. While it is a cool feature that aids the game's pacing, allowing for comebacks, it does not make the game any better. The racetracks in the game are dull and pixelated, and they are merely different colors from one another. 4. Toy Story Racer. Toy Story Racer, another game on our list of Mario Kart clones, does not accomplish much to distinguish itself, with the exception of producing motion sickness. Players will question why the developers thought it was a good idea to have the camera waver and sway during the race. Races take considerably longer than they should in this game. We recognize that we're talking about toy vehicles, but that doesn't mean the game has to proceed at a toy's pace. It's kart racing, so use your creativity. In fact, much of this game appears grounded, as most races are uninteresting, and the tracks on which they take place are colorful and beautiful to look at, but they offer no challenge. 3. Ridge Racer PS Vita. The Ridge Racer series is an extremely popular racing franchise. It is spread across both stationary and mobile platforms. However, not every game in the series is regarded as a masterpiece. Ridge Racer for the PlayStation Vita has to be the poorest of these titles. The game was published in 2011, and you might be wondering what makes it so horrible. Is it because of the graphics? No, they are quite sturdy. Is it because of the gameplay? No, the Vita holds up well in terms of controlling the car when on the road. The lack of material, well, puts this game in the dumps of the racing genre. There are only a few vehicles to pick from. There isn't even much variety in terms of tracks or songs, and if you want more, you'll have to pay for DLC. 2. Sonic R. You had to figure the infamous Sonic R would make it onto this list. Sonic R, released in 1997 for the Sega Saturn, is more of a jumble of confusion and failure than a racing game. Sonic R, in true Sonic the Hedgehog fashion, has a plethora of rings to collect, rapid twists, and bumpers that will send you flying. The problem with all of this is that it does not work in a racing game when you are trying to control your vehicle while being tossed around by game elements. This is the least of Sonic R's issues, as the game also features glitchy graphics, dubious character design, and music that, to put it mildly, does not fit with the overall atmosphere of the game. 1. Action Girls Racing. The majority of the cheap, hastily created Mario Kart ripoffs have a theme added on top. Many of the games on this list contain some of the most well-known characters in contemporary media. Action Girls Racing, which was published in 2005 for the PlayStation 2 and later the Nintendo Wii, not only has no real theme other than girls, but it is also completely unplayable, unmanageable, and offensive. There are 8 playable characters in the game, half of which must be unlocked. From the gorgeous female to the nerdy engineer, each of these racers portrays a different stereotyped girl. To make matters worse, the majority of the racetracks are illogical. Action Girls Racing was created to empower young females, yet it just serves to reinforce prejudices. Unfortunately, that's all the time we had for today. I really had fun and hoped you enjoyed the show as well. If you liked the video and wish to get updates on this and other videos of the same kind, kindly click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bar. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.